All right, homies, come take a seat and learn with me. Let's really look at what we've accomplished and what we have severely slacked on, because that's about what I'm feeling today. I know that it's been feeling better, and I am getting at a point where I'm finally getting closer and closer to realizing that next really good program that I know will work every single time. Like every time I get off an injury, or if I have a slump where the programs I'm writing just aren't hitting the way I want them to, I normally get to a point where you do so much trial and error, back and forth, where you're not getting weaker. You're just not efficiently using your program to emphasize as much strength as possible at the best timing, you know? And so, for example, today, I mentioned it the other day, but when I did that really heavy clean and jerk, and because my volume hasn't been consistent with my power lifts, my core was not strong enough to hold the second attempt at 315. There's a fire truck coming. Damn it. Hold on, just give them a minute. They'll be gone in a second. They'll just be us again. Okay. But anyway, that heavy clean and jerk was just a wee bit too much to handle, and that stress went to my knee, unfortunately. Not in an injury way, don't get me wrong. I feel completely fine. I can still do my stretches fine. But like I said, if you've had a really hard, bad injury on one part of your body, every time you go too heavy and you mess up, it's going to react on that same old injury every single time before anything else. Because that's just the way the body works, unfortunately. Unless you do a full tear and a full recovery with no lifting, and you build it up from the barbell up with no weight, you're not going to truly have a full recovery. And even then, it might still come back in the future way later on. That happens a lot with bench press injuries, where people will have a partial tear in their pec, in that part where it's attaching to the shoulder, and 10 years go by, they do the best. Look at it's like the strongman, he's a guy who's in Game of Thrones, but really strong guy. He did incredibly well, tore his whole pec off, but he got a full tear, did the full recovery, and came back and peaked again because he fully healed it and allowed it to come back. But even then, it could still come back later on, years from now, if he continues to strength lift. So anyway, my point is, my knee just wasn't. I had that small bit of, damn, I know exactly what that feels like, and pushing heavyweight today is not going to be worth it. And it sucks, but doing a warm-up day on when your knee's not feeling the best is going to be the reason you maintain that strength at the best possible potential. Because I'm telling you, if I went up to 275 for the double for my clean and jerk recovery today, it would not have been going. It would have been abysmal, to say the least. It would have been scary as hell. And we don't want that, man. We do not want that. We want to be primed and peaked at all times. So I gave it a rest today. I hit 225, and the moment you tell yourself that it could potentially lead to an injury, even if it's the smallest fraction of a risk, your brain is going to immediately turn off and be like, nope, we are now cutting you off from anything that does legs. You now cannot lift. Which is that's what happened on 225. I didn't lock it in at all. I just felt bad because I was quite frankly scared, And I this is one of those days where I really didn't want to do the video because I didn't perform even really decently. But this is the kind of day that I need to do a video on and talk about, because it's going to give me the best possible mindset to move forward with, I can't just let this fester in my head and get pissed off about it and then not think about it for a while until I have to actually confront it later on. We gotta nip it in the bud right now, So the explosiveness is great. What I talked about yesterday with the squatting and making sure the drive is hard and consistent the whole way through. Every warm up before 225, very happy with. I was driving through the whole clean, actually emphasizing that absolute explosion out of the bounce, which is great. That's something that I don't really think about too much, and then it makes me lean forward. That has been wonderful. It's one of the unlucky timings that you kind of have to look at as fortunate, even if it's unlucky, because I'm learning from it, and it'll give me a chance to force myself to chill out and go a bit lighter and then rebuild it back up at a comfortable, confident rate. getting to the bench. I had high hopes today, but I knew that my training hasn't been consistent by any means. It's been lackluster, to say the least. The effort's been good. The technique hasn't been bad. It just isn't where it should be for what I am attempting to do, because on the old program, when I was doing more volume-based stuff, when it came to set volume, I got up to the point where I could do 315 for a 3x4 confidently. That is nuts. I was going to attempt 325 because I had done 305 for a 3x4 pause bench, and that's arguably harder, and it definitely felt harder. So it doesn't make any sense that even though I took some time off, or I took a little bit of a break to come back and, rest and then get back on a new program, even if I went a little too heavy first time going, I still took the weight down a little bit, and I only hit the 325 for 3 today. It really doesn't make any sense. And it's not so much that I'm not strong, I'm just not consistent. It's so funny because I talk about this all the time, but my core confidence isn't there, when it comes to my power lifts, which is pretty upsetting. Not that I'm upset directly at myself, it's just upsetting in general in the moment. You gotta take a minute to get pissed off so that you can come back and think about it rationally. And it definitely upset me today because that's something I typically have locked down, to a T. And it was pretty disappointing to see that within a month I had digressed my training when it came to my power lifts so quickly because of one small change, and that was the set volume. And this is why I'm glad that today's happening, because it's something. I was talking to a buddy about it. This is the last session that I'm doing that will be me learning about what I need to do for my next step. I'm pretty confident in that. I can feel that with how ready I am to move on to something better and incorporate everything I've learned up to this point into one good program that'll last me a long time. I get that deja vu feeling from back, every year I have this moment where I'm just like, this is it. This is the one time where it sucks. It's not what I want, but it's what I need. And it gets me to that next level every time, dude. I'm telling you. But again, it's still good effort, and I can't just sit here and tell myself 325 isn't impressive. Of course it is. It just isn't as impressive as what I was at literally a month and a half ago, if not less. It's ridiculous that I keep losing strength even though I'm taking more time to reduce the volume, reduce the fatigue. Because when it comes to a power lift, it's not like an Olympic lift. You can't just go in there and do one top set. Even if I did more volume on my recovery days, on the warm-up sets, doesn't mean that I'm getting an optimal amount of work in to get that consistency going, Because especially with how static the movements are with powerlifting, when it comes to the bench and squat, you really want to have that core and that drive locked in all the way so that you can have 100% confidence when you try anything heavy. It's a pretty high necessity to be at that point. And every time I hit something heavy on a power lift, as of recently, with just going to the one top set and leaving it at that, it's either been way too hard, but I just barely make it, so it feels like I did something right, or I miss it completely, and I can't even give it that passion that I normally do, and I'm giving it my all, putting my soul into it, because when you realize that it's not there mid-set, there's not much coming back from that. Once you convince yourself that you're not going to be able to do it to the highest ability that you know that you can, it's not even worth attempting that last rep because you're already locked out, and that's kind of how I was today on the bench. So the third rep was thorough, and it was a good drive, and it went through. I'm not disappointed by the effort I put in. I'm disappointed by the consistency that I've been showing with my training when it comes to my power lifts. Because again, look at the front squatting. It's the front squatting has been abysmal for sure. And every time I look back at old stuff I used to do, or when it was at its peak, or when I felt my best, it's when I had good volume behind it. It's either a good complex with good volume, or just good volume in general that has that explosiveness behind it. So, and by the way, because I had so little videos, because I cut out a lot of stuff from the clean and jerks, I did sled pulls at the end of my workout today because I wanted to make sure I focus on the recovery with my knee first and foremost before I jump onto any new program, because that's got to be at 100% before I do anything. I'm not going to fuck with that again like I did last time and then just let it continuously get injured every single week, even if it's just a little bit, because that's going to be what tanks me and where I can't actually work out anymore in the long run. So the knee's going to get recovered. So I apologize. The last couple minutes are probably just going to be me pulling a sled around, but that's what we got to work with, So just enjoy me doing my little sled walks. And I'll tell you what, those are the only things in the 6 months of recovery I did for my left quad tendon that legitimately worked the tendon directly. It wasn't just strengthening the quad around the tendon. It literally targeted the tendon itself. And that was really good. And I could pack the most weight onto that accessory. And I'm not overpacking the weight by any means. It was something that I could actually grind on a little bit and get what felt like a more full range of motion. Because I was doing no weight single leg pistol squats back when I used to in my old style of recovery months ago. And that full range of motion acid grass with no weight killed me. It destroyed my fatigue when it came to that tendon. And so you got to take it easy and just do some half reps for a while and do it in a way that's as safe and optimal as possible, because being able to do it with the sled pull puts a lot of the stress on my arms when it starts getting hard on my knees, so I can balance it out. But anyway, where I'm at now, what the idea is right now I'm not in it's not that I'm not in the headspace. I could 100% attempt it confidently, but I'm not in the mindset that I want to be when it comes to the experience and smart, how smart I am with my training, how efficient. It doesn't feel like I'm doing things that are worth my time right now, and that's the issue. I need to go in and actually get excited for it and not just think, oh damn, it feels kind of heavy, it might just be a light day again, oops, maybe we'll get them next time. I need to know for a fact I'm gonna get it next time, because that's how confident the training's supposed to be. It makes you hungry for the next one. That's where that desire and that passion comes from. But it's right now, tomorrow's my rest day, obviously, but I got 2 days of training I can do, and then I'm leaving town for Thanksgiving, so you're probably not going to see me at all this weekend until sometime maybe next Wednesday, because I upload the day after I get back in town. But regardless of the time off or whatever recovery days I'm going to do, because the 2 workouts I have before I leave town I'll probably save for recovery, just to let my knee relax and then build it back up. But I'm not in a position where it would be smart to keep going with this program. I committed to it, I gave it my best, and I learned from it. And what I am learning, without a doubt, this is what I mean when I say I'm on that cusp of realizing what I need to move on. It's that like I'm teetering on that breaking point where it's like body wants to give up, but I know that if I change this one little thing, give it that time, it'll come back at a 200% efficiency, and that's what I want. I don't want these heavy lifts right now. Even that was what I was chasing for a while, but as my priorities have been changing and I want my technique to get better, my explosiveness, my overall set volume, just anything to that matter, I need it to become confident again. That's the big thing. I need it to become thorough and consistent and without doubt, 100% focus and effort, no matter what I'm feeling in the day. I can't be going in thinking that it might not work, because then it's never going to work. So when I get back from being out of town, this is planning a little bit far ahead, but I want to let you guys know what I'm thinking. What I know works for me right now. The volume I've been doing for Olympic lifting is wonderful. I'm actually extremely happy with it, because when it comes to Olympic lifts, you can keep the volume way more minimized, and as long as you have that 100% explosiveness and good technique and the prioritization on that form and your core strength, you don't need to do a shit ton of volume. In fact, that higher volume is just going to make you do cardio. And for me, when I do like 3 triples on clean and jerk versus 1, it's just fatiguing as hell. And my technique actually goes down because it's too fatiguing for how much I work. I do these 12-hour night shifts, and I'm a full-time student on top of going to the gym every day. So not to make an excuse, but quite frankly, I don't have the energy to keep up with that kind of volume when it comes to solely Olympic lifting. However, when it comes to power lifts, squats, and bench, I absolutely know for a fact that when I get just a couple sets, not a lot, just the 3. The 3 was the moneymaker for me. But just those 3 sets of consistent, good sets, that is what got me at my strongest. Because I don't care if I have to go back down to 305 for a 3x4 on normal bench, even though I was doing 315 pretty confidently before. I would rather build it back up from that, do an entire confidence cycle on my program, and then know without a doubt that I deserved every one of those weights, every step of the way, and I deserve the weight I'm going to add on for the future self that I desired to become, you know? That's all it is. And so the consistency that volume brings is gold in its experience from what I've learned. And I need to stop denying it and running away from volume just because it reduces my time in the gym and it reduces the effort a little bit. Because I know I work a lot, but I can stand to add in 2 extra sets. It's not a fucking lot. And I would rather keep the weight just a little bit lighter and a little bit more consistent with how static these lifts are, just for the sake of my overall betterment of my lifting. You know, my lifting's quite frankly been pretty shit lately. And that's not me. That is not me. So I'm gonna fix it. I'm not that I need a solution, but I want a goal and a desire and a passion to work toward so that I can grasp onto any form of progression. Even today, even though it feels like a failure to a sense, I know that this is going to be the progress that I need to move forward in the best way possible. So we're just going to recover for a little bit. I know it might be a little lackluster, a little boring, but stick with me because we're still going to talk about it. We're still going to enjoy ourselves. We're still going to do it every step of the way. Before I leave you guys, because I know I keep leaving for the end, but I got to talk about this stuff when I got it in my head. But all in all, physically, I'm going to give it a 7.25. It was pretty lackluster. That's the lowest it's been in a while. Again, it's not horrible by any means. Don't think that just because it's lower by a good chunk from what I'm used to, that it means it was a bad day. It was still pretty decent. And like, I don't feel fatigued really at all strength-wise, which is great. But I need that little bit of added on consistency in my main muscle groups through the power lifts to accessorize my Olympic lifts without going too hard on the static form. You know, that really hurts my joints a little bit. So mentally, although it sucks and it's upsetting, I'm excited to try something new, yet something that I know that I've always been able to do, that I've done before. It's more like I'm just combining 2 halves of my previous experiences as a whole for right now, so that I can grow in the best way that I know how to in this present day, you know? So I'll still give the mental like a solid 7.75. You know, wasn't crazy. I wasn't too happy about having to just go easy on a heavy day and then do some knee accessories, but this is what makes me better. This is why I'm going to become a more and more intermediate lifter, you know, getting toward that elite level as I get stronger and stronger. So let me know how your lives and lifts been going. You know I love hearing about it. Sorry for yapping so long, but you gotta talk about this shit. So I'm gonna just do my best. You'll see me back. We're going to do better no matter what, and I'll keep you guys updated with my knee as well. I'm sure the recovery is going to go great. It was really quick last time, and there's no actual pain right now. It's just slight discomfort and a little bit lack of strength. So I'm just going to take it easy on the main lifts, keep the recovery going with the accessories, and we'll just see what happens. You know, I love you guys. See you day after tomorrow. Bye.